The Drum Candy Podcast is brought to you by Drum Factory Direct.
What's up, everyone? Welcome into episode 12 of season 4 of the Drum Candy Podcast. This is your host, Mike Dawson, coming to you from Drum Factory Direct in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We are wrapping up season 4 with the great Rudy Royston. Rudy is first call drummer with many great artists, including Bill Frisell, Dave Douglas, J.D. Allen, Rujesh Mahantapa, many others. He's also a band leader and composer, and he just put out a new record called Day with his unique ensemble called Flatbed Buggy. This group features bass clarinet, cello, accordion, and bass and drums. It's a little bit more of like a chamber ensemble experience. It's a really cool record. He wrote it during the pandemic, so it kind of chronicles a day in the life of lockdown. Really interesting music. Great conversation. Disclaimer, the audio on this one's a little bit jacked up. Unfortunately, the Zoom audio didn't sync properly, so I wasn't able to use the high-res version of Rudy's audio. I had to just kind of manage and deal with the Zoom feed, so my apologies for that. If you can just bear with it, it's a great interview regardless, so hope you enjoy it. Let's get to Rudy Royston. So let's start with like where you're at now. Are you home? Are you on a little bit of a break? What's your summer schedule here?
Yeah, I'm home now. A little bit of a break, which was good. I mean, I just got back from being out about 3 weeks. Now I'm home for a couple days. But I got, a bunch of stuff in the city, and I got a bunch of recordings coming up, which is cool. So I'll be home, but I'll just not be here.
Oh, I see.
It was nice to at least be able to drive home if I needed to.
Are you in Jersey?
Yeah.
So what
Eastern Pennsylvania, not Jersey. Easton.
What was that? East what?
Easton, Pennsylvania.
Easton. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, so you went a little bit further west.
Yeah.
Get a little bit more space.
I was in Jersey about 12 years or something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
14 years or something. I had to come out here and get some space. Tane is out here. There's a lot of other great drummers out here, so it's cool. Michael Adam Nussbaum.
Right.
It was kind of cool.
Yeah, I made the same move. I moved to Pittsburgh. We went from northern Jersey to all the way over to Pittsburgh to get out of the area.
Way out.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. Pittsburgh is cool.
Yeah, it's a cool town. Got Roger Humphreys here.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Hey, then you're close to what's out there? What's that place? Blue or something? Akron, Ohio?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a couple hours out. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some places out there, man. Cool.
So do you have drums at home, or do you leave home kind of drum free?
I don't have any here, but there's a studio that we have like 2 blocks over. So I have my on the side of there. So, yeah, it's cool.
And how often, when you're not on the road, are you playing drums over there?
You know what? I've only been here about 4 months, so I'm pretty much going to be over there every day.
Okay.
Just for a couple hours or whatever, just at least get to play. This is big dance studio. Like my girl's into dance and Pilates, teaches all this stuff. So it's like I just have my drum set in the room with all this stuff. It's cool.
Nice. Are you still like in a practice mode? Like what do you do when you get on the kit these days?
Man, that's I'm like at a crisis right now. What am I doing on this kit right now? I had to go back to like basics. Just like, man, just go back and it was just like, what are you trying to do right now? I'm just sitting here. I'm just like, like I'm going to play the stuff I always play. It's like, no, this okay. Go back and just get back into the rudiments, get back into that stuff that you still can't play. Like that flam diddle that it's like, it's not good, but you just throw it in there, it's like, okay, let me actually get that together, you know what I mean? So, like, yeah, I'm in that kind of a move. You hear that? These dudes are doing construction next door.
That's not too bad.
But yeah, so I mean, like, I'm just, and then, man, this is weird. You start getting older, stuff start happening. It's like, you know what? I'm just gonna just go play just hard just to see if I can still endure. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
tired after about an hour. So yeah, I mean, it's just like, I don't know. There's a bunch of stuff that I'm. Sometimes I just play. Sometimes I play to test my endurance, kind of things. It's like it's weird, dumb stuff that I would never do. It's weird. But yeah, a lot of reading stuff. People's music. I've been playing a lot of people's records. So yeah, I get a lot of opportunity to just play some music. Every now and then I'll listen to what other cats are doing and I'll emulate them. You know what I mean? Just to give myself some creative ideas and things that I want to try to do. And, yeah. So
how do you prepare for, like, when you're working with other people's music in a jazz world? Like, what do they give you? You get a score? Do you get a lead sheet? Do you get a demo? Like, how do you prepare for those sessions?
I mean, I'll probably get a demo. They'll send me a demo. If they send me a score, that doesn't really help. So I kind of need to know what's going on. So they'll send me a demo, and then I have to be looking at the music when I'm listening to the demo. You know what I mean? I can't just listen to the music and then be like, okay, I got it. You know what I mean? I got to kind of see what's going on in the music. But yeah, so I'll just spend about a week just doing that and trying to get off of the music, as quickly as possible, just knowing the tune. But we got like 4 records, coming. Can't really do that. Don't have enough time to do it. But yeah, that basically just try to, but the thing is, playing other people's music, try to capture the essence of it. You know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to get to when I'm preparing for other people's music.
Are there drum parts on the demo at that point? Or are you kind of creating your own?
There's drum parts on the demo sometimes. Like I love it when people have the computer drum parts on there. I'm like, cool. And there's another drummer. I'm like, man, this sounds good. It's like, what am I gonna do? You know what I mean? Like, you sure you don't want to just use the dude who played on the demo? Yeah. You know what I mean? But there's another drummer, that's, but I try not to listen, because I don't want to play with the other drummers. Make sure they're cool with me playing with whatever I play. So, but yeah, there's drums on there. The computer ones that are like really generic, I'm like, yeah, I know I'm gonna sound better than this. Yeah, I got it.
Now, who are these different projects with? I mean, like, my question is, like, do you approach playing with Frisell or Rudrish or Dave Douglas? Is it a different drum approach for you, or is it kind of you take them all in the same way?
No, it's kind of a different approach. Like certain people who I'll play with, I'll sort of gear up energetically. Like it's different kinds of energy, really, that I want to sort of bring. You know what I mean? Like I have to discipline myself not to play a certain way with Frisell because that's not that's the wrong thing to play. That's too much. And that's the thing when playing with a bunch of different people. You get that kind of exposure. Like, what kind of playing do I want to do with Frisell, and then what kind of playing do I want to do with Rudrish? You know what I mean? It's like, so it's a kind of an energy. It's a kind of an approach that you have to think about, So I'll prepare. Like Frisell, I play with all the time, and so I just know, like it's not just really, it's just about conversation and sharing. You know what I mean? So it's just like, bring down you know what I mean? All of the you stuff that you want to do. And it's just like, no, this is about pure just music. You know what I mean? Like a conversation and a sharing and a painting of a collective picture. You know what I mean? And there are other things that people that I'll play with that I kind of have a different bit of a mindset with. Like if preparing for David Sanchez before I get, so I just sat in with it a few times. Like, it's the same thing. It's like, but there's a little more, and it's very groove oriented. You know what I mean? So it's just like, now you want to have some energy so a certain kind of an energy to the groove, but you don't want to play too much. Then I play with grid rush, and it's just like, but he kind of wants you to play that, you know. So it's like, now you got to play with a bunch of energy, and there's a lot of interaction, and he wants that kind of energy. You know what I mean? So it's like, and it's about the groove, but it's also about, you know, interacting and creating in this energy. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, different ways of thinking of it. Sometimes I'll start to a bunch of music. Like if I know I'm going to play with a certain person, I might start listening to a bunch of yacht rock, or I might start listening to a bunch of, you know, 60s jazz, or, you know what I mean? It depends, just to get myself in that headspace.
Is there a rehearsal for these sessions, or is it worked out in the studio?
Most of them is worked out in the studio. Well, sometimes there'll be a rehearsal. Most of them, there's probably a quick rehearsal. Yeah, but I haven't been on one where it's like, you know, 4 days rehearsing, then we go in the studio kind of thing. I haven't done that since way back in the 90s. Some alternative rock bands and stuff. And be like, why are we rehearsing? So let's just play. You know, we're still rehearsing the same tune. All right, we're good. Let's play.
Do you travel with any gear, or is it all backline at this point?
It's about to be. No, I'm getting nervous. I take my cymbals.
Yeah.
Yeah, I take the cymbals, and I mean, you know, some little percussion stuff that'll be in the cymbal bag.
And what are your cymbals? What's your setup?
Man, it's kind of changing now. I've been playing a lot. My cymbals, normal cymbal setup is a Sabian 22-inch. It switches a lot. You know what I mean? But it's like an elite ride. The Explosion Crash 18-inch. I've been using these hi-hats though that are like 18-inch. They're not by Sabian. A cymbal maker in Italy. There's like a Sabian over here that I use with rivets. And it switches so much, but then there's like a 16-inch crash I'll have on this side. No, yeah, but all Sabian stuff except for the hi-hats. But yeah, lately I've been using some of the other cats' rides too, just because they have that, you know, they have that real thin, you know, not too complex sound, which is kind of what I'm looking for.
You said 18-inch hi-hats?
18-inch hi-hat, yeah.
Those are monsters. Does the pedal feel sluggish for you?
No, I mean, because the problem with them is, you know, when you want to have some articulation on them, like if you want to have it's like, good luck with that. You got to play it a certain way, you know what I mean? Or if you want to, you know, do any kind of interplay on the hi-hat, it's like, okay, yeah, you know, you gotta really play off of it. And if you know, 2 and 4, you can't crush it. You gotta kind of, you know, baby it so you can get some sound on it. But, you know, I like it because it's another color. You know what I mean? It's not just a hi-hat, but it's a crash, actually. I could just come off of it and just crash it like a crash cymbal. Or, you know, and if you line them up, you know, just right and push it, you get the right amount of pressure, you can get some articulation out of it. But yeah, the weight, they're really light, so it's not like the hi-hat is, you know, hard to, they move really well. It's just, yeah, it can be tough sometimes. I'm just like, where are you at? I'm just like, where is it? It's like, oh, that's not working.
I mean, are your legs like super long? I mean, where do you put them?
It's not much further. I just moved about an inch over. That's cool.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, man, they sound so good. It's just another. I mean, like you're saying, man, it's good to have that other texture and that other sound. You know, I mean, it's nice for me because that's what really turned me on to it. You know, and then okay, I don't want to put stuff on them which I've been doing lately, like putting some kind of bells or something on it, you know what I mean? It's like, nah. But it's been actually, I tried it the other day and it's like, okay, yeah, that's even another sound. So it's cool. Yeah.
So let's back up a bit. What brought you to New York? I was looking through your bio. You started out in Texas, ended up in Colorado. What brought you to the New York area?
Man, I just wanted to play. I just wanted to see if I could actually hang, like if I could actually play. Because I was in Denver, and then, everyone who would come through Denver, I would kind of get a chance to play with them. You know what I mean? Sometimes I would sit in with them, people, and they would, and Ron Miles, who's like my mentor, he was playing a lot in New York, and he was playing with Myron Melford, and he was playing with Brian Blade, and he was like, "Yeah, man, if you can go to New York and play, I'm telling you, you can do it." And I was like, "How?" Those New York cats, you'd be like not in New York, you'd be like, "I was New York dude." But I wanted to come, you know what I mean? But I was just so heavily involved in teaching at the time because I was a band teacher. And I remember one time I was just teaching the class and I was just like, yeah, man, you have to like try to do this. Like, you have to, even if you don't want to be music, play music the rest of your life, dedicate yourself to this for my class. You know what I mean? Do this for this semester and see what music can really give you and then make a judgment from that. But I remember when I was saying that to them and then I was like, man, but you're not really doing this. It's just like you're not really doing what you're telling them to do. You're telling them to just love it and go for it. It's like, but you're not really, it's like you want to do what you're telling them to do. So it's just like, I got to try this. I got to see. Because I was getting really good at teaching, like being a band teacher. You know what I mean? It was just like, you're going to get really comfortable with this and you're not going to leave. It's like either you have to do this now or, and then like I said, I always say I didn't want to be like salty, 40 years later, I could have went to New York. I'm telling you, I could have played. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't want to do that. I just wanted to just give it a try. But then I had my daughter was like 6 months old, so my son was 2. I was just like, oh man, how are we gonna do this? But then I got a scholarship to Rutgers, not scholarship, I got accepted to Rutgers graduate program. So that was a way to get the family here, and get here and be cool. But I just had to try it. I just want to like, because everyone was telling me, you can, man, you should go and play, man. Like you really want to do this. Like everyone could tell, like you really want to do this. So just go. But yes, I did it.
And how many years into teaching were you at that point?
I was like 13 years into teaching.
Oh, you're well entrenched as a teacher.
Yeah, I had already taught like elementary, middle, and high school.
Wow.
I was at the high school when I left the middle and the high school. So I was doing, musicals and marching band and concert band, and symphonic. It was, and I was just getting good with kids, like, connecting and being just, a good teacher. That was my main concern. It was like, man, am I really impacting them? Is this really something that they're learning from and enjoying? But yeah, so I was learning it. So I was like, man, you're getting kind of good. It's kind of cool. You get a check every month. You got insurance. Everything's good. It's cool. It's like, but you really want to play, man. It's like you just, you really want to play. It's like, oh yeah. So when I got accepted, like I said, that made it a little easier because I didn't know any other way. It was like, I'm going to just go there with my family. You know what I mean? Like, have no place to stay or anything.
Yeah.
That really helped.
So what was the first gig that kind of got you into the scene?
A jam session.
Really?
Yeah. I went to a jam session at Smalls. I went to this jam session at Fat Cat before it closed, and I kind of played with this dude, Greg August, this bass player named Greg, who played with J.D. Allen's trio. we kind of played with him. But then when I saw him again at Smalls, he was just like, man, I think we just played a couple nights ago. I'm like, yeah, let's play. And he was like, yeah. So we sat in and we played and we kind of connected. And that one gig, he was like, man, there's this dude named JD, man. He's come over to my house and let's just play some. I'm from Denver, we didn't really go over people's houses to play, you know what I mean? We'll have a session. Okay. Like, is it a gig? He was like, no, we're just gonna work on music. I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, I had done that a couple of times with Ron, but we were playing gigs, you know what I mean? So yeah, and then I went to JD's house and we started, we played and I got a legitimate, gig with JD and that. Like, he was like, yeah, man, I got a legitimate gig for us at Puppets Jazz. It's gonna pay like $20 each. You ready? So yeah, man. But it just kind of went from there. But that was like my first gig. I remember there was this club called the Garage in the Village. It was not a club. It was just like a restaurant. Yeah, man, I really want to play there at the Garage. You know what I mean? Now when I look at it, it's like that was my goal. Like that's a restaurant. It was just like, yeah. But it was cool though. Finally got to play at the Garage, and then I played at Fat Cat, and I played at 55 Bar. And it was just like, yeah, you're doing it. It was cool.
And all the while you're studying to get your master's or doctorate. What was it you were studying?
Master's
degree. So you were in New Brunswick how many days a week?
I mean, because I lived in New Brunswick, so I lived on campus.
Okay.
Well, yeah, I mean, like the rough part was getting to the city.
Yeah.
Man, that was like money. When I first got here, you could get in and out of the city for $6. Now it's like $18, $19.
Yeah. I remember when that changed. Yeah.
You get on the train, it's like, I'm still on the train, it'd be cool. I'm like, man, it was cheaper to drive, you know what I mean? It was just like, I was driving, it's super cheap. Now, man, it's just like, I have no idea how to get in. The train is expensive, the tolls are expensive. So it was just like, man, but back then, plus I didn't have any money. That was really tough. Little 8-month-old daughter, you know what I mean? So it's like, doing $20 gigs at Puppets Jazz. But it was with great people, man. So it was like people who are already listening to on the radio. I'm like, wow, this dude is like right here, like nothing. You know what I mean? Like this is what I'm at their place. You know what I mean? It was really cool to start to do that. So I could play with people who I just been listening to. You know what I mean? And you really hear people's genius. Like you hear it when you play with them live. You don't hear it on the radio. And when you're playing with them, it's just like, wow, whoa, like that's what you hear the thing, the command of the instrument or the rhythm or whatever they're doing. It's like, man, that's why that's why people make a big deal out of you. You know what I mean? It's cool. That was fun to experience like that.
Did you feel like you were ready, or was it like, oh, I've got a lot of shedding to do once you kind of got into the scene a bit?
Yeah, I felt like I had a lot of shedding to do. You know what I mean? I mean, I knew I could play stuff, but when I got here, when I came to New York, it's just like, yeah, you can't really play what you thought you could play. It's like I knew like, I had my thing that I could do. Like I could hold a groove. Like that was true wherever I went. So I'm like, dude, this groove. You know what I mean? Like, just make it feel good. You know what I mean? So I knew I could hold a groove. I knew I could swing a little. I had a little bit of technique, but style, you know what I mean? Like I didn't really know what that was to a certain, and in terms of being around all these other styles, I didn't really know what mine was until I got around those other things. Then I could hear my real, what I really do that's different from everyone else kind of thing. But yeah, it was cool, but I didn't feel ready though. But it was, at the same time, I didn't feel not ready. I just wanted to just play, you know what I mean? I just want to, immediately I just started getting better at stuff that I was trying to do because I was just around all these other cast members doing stuff. Like, oh, you just sort of iron sharpens iron. You just sort of just start doing it without even realizing. So, yeah.
I think when I first heard you popping up on records, it was on when that was. It would have been around that time, maybe a couple of years later. Like, when did you first start making records?
Man, let's see. I mean, I made some in Denver, but I guess, yeah, maybe 2008-ish.
Okay.
8. I mean, I guess, yeah. But making records with like Reynald Colum, I think, trumpet player, then Linda O. I started playing some records with. And yeah, about then. Positone, I started doing a lot of Positone records on that label.
And what I noticed hearing those first records was it was a fresh sound. It was like, oh, this isn't someone who's been in New York forever and kind of absorbed the New York, whatever that may be. It was like there was something else going on there. It felt like maybe there was more of a fusion influence. So I wanted to ask you, like, what are your biggest influences as a drummer?
Man, probably TV scores, movies, commercials. You know what I mean? Like, cause yeah, I mean, that's something that I'm kind of glad about, but I don't know if I'm, you know what I mean? Like, because I didn't have the New York thing. And I'm like, man, should I, man, maybe I should have gotten that. It might have been better or whatever. But I'm kind of glad I didn't because it just makes me, my sound is different now. My approach from where I'm coming from is different. And my technique is sort of different. I hope it doesn't hold me back from getting certain gigs where they want, you know what I'm saying? But yeah. So I guess, a lot of the stuff that just sounds around me like music, I grew up probably listening more to like gospel and funk and just, sort of playing everything, because my family was into everything, you know what I mean? So just like, I don't really know, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't hear real jazz, traditional jazz stuff that I was really getting into until I was in my, high school, you know what I mean? Before that, I was hearing it. I grew up listening to like Train and Miles, but it was just so much other music that I was hearing too, that I was really into as well. So, just kind of, so, yeah. I mean, those early, when I first got into jazz, it was like Kane, Omar Hakeem, a lot of fusion drummers. Who's my man who's playing Spiral Driver? Richie.
Oh, yeah, Morales?
Yeah. Taking him out, and then, then Weckel, you know what I mean? So I was checking that stuff out. And then I sort of like went into like, wait a minute, Blakey, Billy Joe, you know what I mean? They sort of took it, and then that took over everything. But I didn't come first with Blakey, you know what I mean? I first came with fusion drumming and funk drumming and gospel stuff. And right when gospel chops started to come in, early 90s, sort of, people like John P. Keith's drummers started doing these kind of like, what is this? That's kind of cool. But that's when I sort of went into the traditional thing. And it was Tane from the beginning, though. Tane is kind of who brought me to the whole music. It was like, that drummer song, he has like 8 hands. Like, how is he doing it? You know, it was like, yeah. But that's when Blade kind of was doing his thing too, like earlier on when he started to come out. It's like, it was a good thing, a good time, I think. So I just took all of that first gospel and rock and drumming and then added it to the jazz stuff. So I think that's what kind of makes me sound a little bit different. If I had the jazz traditional stuff first and then added the other stuff, I might have a different sound. I think I just hope it's good. You know, it feels good and it's swinging, basically, or it's funky or whatever it is. If it's that, I'm cool.
Yeah, it sounds to me like you come from a groove place first versus the opposite of an improvisatory place first, and then adding the groove later, which I can relate to. Same, come up alternative rock and funk and soul was my background, so I kind of hear that connection. So, was there ever a period in your development when you were like, let me shed my fusion stuff, let me let me try to put on the jazz suit or whatever?
I mean, that happened right around the early 90s. Like, I'm just dating myself. Probably about the early 90s. That's when there was a lot happening. But that's when it was a Winton's quartet was killing. That one with like Robert Hurst and Payne and Marcus Roberts. I was in the Branford stuff, but right around then, it's because Tane, you know, anything connected with Tane is what I was into. Right about the early 90s was when I started to check out other stuff. Like I had matured, I think, personally, I just matured to a point where I was hearing other things about the music besides this, you know, flashy things, whatever. Like I was hearing music for the first time in jazz arena. So yeah, it was about then, about early 90s when I started to like, all right, Weckel. Like I can't do anything I'm hearing you do. Like no matter what I try, I know what that is. I watched that video a million times. Remember that video that chick came out with those before New York City dancers on it? Like and Scott Henderson or something like that was on guitar. Man, I watched that thing. My VCR was blurry and I watched that thing. Just trying to figure out what Weckel was doing, and that's such a great record. That was really good music. Still is, but you know, it's like I don't know. And Steve Smith was just like, "Why do you guys hang, man?" You know what I mean? And then Vinny was like, "Forget it." He was like, "Man." But the fun part was just to try to do it. Still, I'm still trying to do that stuff. But then I was just like, okay, let me get into some other stuff too, and step out of just that stuff and get into, you know, some more swinging stuff. So yeah, right about then is when I started getting tired. For a while, it was just like, that's all I listened to for about 3.5 years. Just nothing else. Just, you know, traditional swing. Because I was trying to learn the language and really get it in me and realize there's nothing else. It was like just that. It's kind of, yeah, that's help. That's, you know what I mean? I didn't look into it like that. That's kind of what I needed to just break up everything and get my head into that part of the music, and then know what I wanted to mix into it later. You know?
Did you like put away your big fusion kit and get a bebop kit? Like, did the gear have to change as well?
Yeah, I mean everything. The drum tuning had to change. I had an RFC, I think it was. RFC Yamaha kit way back in the day. The RTC or RFC. It was like birch, you know, 22-inch keg. Like I wasn't that big. I didn't have to charge the thing on a credit card. And it was just like, yeah, that's not. Yeah, you can't. That's not the bass drum sound you want. You want to do. That's not working. You know, like so. You know, power toms, 10 by 10, 12 by 12. Yeah, you know what I mean? But yeah, I had to. It was a great sounding drum, but I had to switch. You know what I mean? To get the smaller bass drum and just get I went and got a Ludwig. What they call that Ludwig? It was like a rocker or something, Ludwig rocker, but it had smaller sizes. So it still kind of had a punch to it, but it had smaller drum sizes, 18, 10, 12, 14. But yeah, so I had to switch all of that. And cymbals, like I had to, but the cymbals, you know, because I kept like a really pingy one, ping, ping, like a real ping cymbal. It was just like, it didn't work, you know what I mean? Because when I laid into it, it just got really just powerful, and yeah, you know what I mean. That even switched later. I was learning about a lot of stuff, similar sounds and stuff. But yeah, I had to switch it up because I was doing a gig. I forget, I was playing somewhere. It was just like, and I was like, this bass drum is killing everything, dude. It was like trying to swing, and the bass was like, it was just like, dude. Okay, this isn't matching what you now hear. You know what I mean? You listen now. It's just like, this is not at all what you're hearing. Like, yeah. But I'd switch it up.
Yeah. How did you get hooked up with Frisell?
That was through Ron Miles, because I subbed for Joey Barron, and I found the cassette tape of the first time I played with Frisell. I had it at the Ogden Theater in Denver on Colfax Street, the kind of a seedy boulevard to me. But Joey Barron couldn't make a gig, and I was playing with Ron Miles, and he was just like, man, we can do this Bill Frisell gig. Can you do it? Yeah. And they sent me the music, and I'll take it out. And again, it was just another world for me. It's like, what is Joey Barron? Like, I have no idea, man. I'm just going to try to do whatever I can do, But it was cool. Like, we played the gig, and Bill was like, yeah, man. Yeah. It's like, So then, we played that gig, and then we didn't play anymore. It was like another year went by, and then Ron was doing a record, and he was like, Bill's going to play on this record, so let's do this record, Woman's Day. That's the first time I played with Bill on a recording. So those 2 times was the only time that I played with Bill, and then a decade or something went by before I moved to New York. And Bill heard that I was in New York. And he was like, oh, wait, man, you're in New York now? Oh, I got a gig. So, yeah, that was good. I think my first European gig was with Bill at the Cheltenham Jazz Festival, Cheltenham Jazz Festival, in England. Yeah, I didn't even have a passport.
Wow.
I was just like, I didn't even know what a passport looked like. It's crazy.
That's wild. A decade later, and he heard, because he could pretty much pick anyone in town to play with him at that point, I would think.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. I had a gig with Don Byron, and Don Byron's manager was used to be Ron's manager or whatever. So they kind of communicated with Bill and said, yeah, did you know Rudy's in New York now? And it's like, oh, I didn't know that. So that's how I got to play with Bill.
Amazing. How do you balance being a leader with all these demands as a sideman or a collaborator?
Man, that's hard. It's really hard because just like now, like Day came out in May, and I'm a sideman for the rest of the year. It's just like, dude, you know what I mean? Like, and there's a practical side to this. Like, they're good gigs. So it's just like, yeah, they pay more than your day gig would. You know what I mean? Like, so you gotta commit. So I'm not going to get to really tour this record until January. You know what I mean? But for that, that just makes it tough because my headspace is in other places all the time. You know what I mean? It's just like my own thing. I got to get into my own headspace for my thing. You know what I mean? Like now I'm home and I'm like, okay, should I start working on? I got to work on some stuff for a tour. You know what I mean? Or should I just rest? You know what I mean? Or it's like, well, yeah, we do have a gig. We have a gig coming up. It's just like you're playing all this other music, and then when you get to your music, it's like, okay, wait, it's different. So yeah, that it could be tough just balancing how I want to think about what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like, no, I'm going to go practice later today. And it's just like, you want to practice, or do you want to start working on writing some more music for your thing? Do you want to practice one of these three things you got next week? You recording part, you know what I mean? It's just like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love it all, so I don't like anything any more or less, you know what I mean? But it's just, I gotta do my thing too, you know what I mean? It's a good problem, I think, to
Yeah.
have. That's a good problem.
Yeah. I mean, I think for me personally, the more gigs I have, the less I pay attention to what I really want to be doing. And I'm like, oh, yeah, you wrote these pieces that you've never finished, or you've got these ideas that you're like, yeah, I want to do that, and it never actually happens.
Yeah.
So I admire your commitment to put it out. I'm wondering, like, how did you put the material together for a day? Was it during a break in touring, or were you writing on the road? Like, how did all this material come together?
Well, it happened during quarantine, so that was easy. That was a little easier. I mean, at least the sketches for it happened, I kind of finished it up a little later, but yeah, during the pandemic, I just sort of started writing music. And that's why it's called Day. That's fitted around this typical sort of pattern that I start to go through on a typical day. All this emotional roller coaster doing this. Like, it's the same thing every day. So it's like, yeah, how do you feel right now? You know what I mean? So I would write down a little sketch of some kind of melody or sing it into my phone. And, kind of come back to it later. Some of the other two, there was one thing that I had already written. I was like, this fits. So I didn't have to write. Yeah, it was written already. This fits already. But yeah, it's kind of that, man. But it was good because I had the time to do it. You know what I mean? So I could just, focus on doing that and not have anything else sort of in the way, buying for the. It's cool though.
How much of it is like what does a finished composition for you look like? Is there a full score with parts? Is it melody and chords? Like, how do you finish a tune?
Oh, man. I mean, a finished score for me looks like something that if I give it to the cats, we can play through it. But that's not necessarily, it's not done. You know what I mean? It's just like we can get through it. If we get on a gig and they be like, well, I didn't know what to do after D. You know what I mean? It's like there's no, where's the coda? You know what I mean? That kind of thing. Just finish the tune so that you can actually play it and then now take it further or don't. Just tell the cats. Like, the hardest thing I think for sometimes the cats that I play with, and it's kind of jive by me, I guess. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just like, I don't know what I want you to play. Let's play something. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to tell you what to play. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what we're gonna play at C. And when we get there, play something, and it's a tough on drums because you'd be like, follow me. You know what I mean? They don't know what that means. You know what I mean? I'm trying to think, what if I was a person listening to the drummer? It's like, what exactly is he wanting me to do right now? You know what I mean? Like, I could hear that with other people. They could play a chord and a groove or something. It's like, well, I hear what you're wanting. You know what I mean? But, so I could play something. It's just like, you don't feel that? You don't feel what I mean? It's like, can't you tell? It's like, no, they don't, not really. It just kind of sounds like noise to me. You know what I mean? It's just sound. So, that's, but I have to write like that. Like, I don't I don't know what I want for everything. You know what I mean? Like, just make something. And that's like, you know what I mean? When you say that to someone, I don't know, man, make something. You know what I mean? It's like, that's why I have these dudes, though, who I have, because they're all composers on the record, you know what I mean? And they all are not afraid to do that. And like, when I say that to them, like, yeah, I don't know, whatever you want to create something, like, we'll follow you. You know what I mean? And they can do that. You know what I mean? And now we've got to the point where they kind of understand what I'm wanting. So it's easier now. But in the beginning, it was just like, okay, does he really know what he's doing? You know what I mean? Like, I really don't know what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like, really, honestly, no. But let's let's find it. You know what I mean? But
So
yeah, that's it.
what would be on the score, like in that C section you're talking about? What would be in the cello part score?
Just slightly. No, you know what I mean? I may give like one measure of a bass thing and say something like this. You know what I mean? Something like this, or think of this, or you know what I mean? And then uh, something like that. You know, I would give someone else a little something to play and say, you know, these notes. Not like, you know, it'd be a rhythm. You know what I mean? It's not just random C, F, E. You know, I'll have something there and just say, you know, something like this. You know, and then match it with when you hear what I'm doing, you'll feel it. Which most of the time cats don't actually. When we're used to hearing that, you feel it, and then we actually do. It's like, oh, okay, we've been doing this all our lives. Yeah, okay, I do feel it. I get it. But when you're the one leading to the cats who usually say you'll feel it, they're just like, yeah, I don't really feel that. You know, especially when you play, like when I'm playing most of the time because I can't do drum things. You know what I mean? I'm playing melody. I'm playing like harmony. I'm playing a scene that if you don't know that scene, you know what I mean, you're not going to know what I'm trying to create. And what is that to you? You know what I mean? What is a beautiful meadow on a summer day? What is that to you? That might not be what I'm seeing. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, what is that to you? So it's like, yeah, it's a challenge. It's a challenge.
How long does it take to go from that first run through to what you hear on the record? Does it morph, or is it kind of first intuition ends up working?
It's usually the first intuition is the word because I'm not gonna be too particular. You know what I mean? Good. That's what it is. That's what it is. You know, and that's something that I learned from Ron Lives too. Is we would just play so much music, and it would just be whatever it is. Like he would never say anything to play. You know, he'd say something on the page like, "Hey, make sure we play this," but that's it. Like it would be like, "Is that what you want?" He's like, "Well, that's what we just played, so yeah, that's what it is." Okay, cool. You know, like, I never even asked him. I just stopped. You know what I mean? Like even now, I don't ask people that. I've never been like, "Is that what you want?" Because I'm not used to asking that. You know what I mean? He's like, "Well, yeah." And then you would hear with another band and be like, "That's totally different." It's like, "Is that what you want?" He's like, "Well, that's the way we played it." So you know what I mean?
Right.
That's what it is. So yeah, it's like the same thing with me. It's like, yeah, man, that's what we're gonna do. Is what we're gonna do. Because I know as a drummer, the most frustrating thing is when someone tells me, you know, how to play it. It's just like, dude, I can't do that. All I can play is what I would play. I don't know how to do what you hear. You know what I mean? You have to hear what I do and say if it's what you want or not. You know what I mean? I'm going to try to give you what you want, but it's really tough sometimes, you know. So yeah, I don't want to do that to people. You know, play what you play, and if our sound is what it is together, then that's a successful band that you put together. Cool. You know what I mean?
So your band Flatbed Buggy is a very interesting instrumentation. Sounds more like almost like improvised chamber music in a lot of ways to me. How did you settle on, because you've got accordion and cello and bass and drums? How did you settle on that instrumentation?
It's music. Those are instruments that I just like their sound. You know what I mean? And I like body. You know what I mean? But what's cool? Like my first record, 303, has two bass players. You know what I mean? Like it's like that might be the fusion thing or the rock thing or funk thing coming through. You know what I mean? It's like I like, you know what I mean? But this one, I just like range. You know, I like the cello's range. I like the way Hank plays it. You know what I mean? Then there's bass. which almost wasn't. Like it almost could not be a bass. You know what I mean? In the band, that's just like, I think I want, because there's too much groove stuff. You know what I mean? So that I want to hear a bass. And the accordion. I don't even know the bass clarinet. You see that range like cello, bass, and bass clarinet. They're kind of like, and then there's accordion. It's like, so it's like, man, then there's the, like, it's just a sound that has all of the tones that I like. And I chose that first one though because I was trying to get like woods outside sort of thing. I did that, and when I hear Gary play the accordion and you hear the thing breathing, you know what I mean, and you hear the clicks and stuff on the cello and he's playing, and it was very outdoorsy sound, air, and that was really cool. So basically, yeah, and then I'm like, if the melody and that I make can fit with this, which there's no reason why it shouldn't be able to, then it works. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, does the melody sound good in this band? Like, all right, because improvising is going to be whatever it is. You know what I mean? Like, if the melody sounds good, which there's no reason why it shouldn't, but, sometimes I guess you may want a certain sound on the melody to give you a certain vibe or whatever, but I have that range. I can have Gary play it low or high. I can have John Ellis cover the middle, high, to the low. It's like, it's cool.
I think dynamically that instrumentation keeps it pretty low, right? I mean, the cello can only get so loud, the accordion, if you like it, but even the bass clarinet, I don't think it's being a particularly powerful sound.
Yeah.
So what does that do for you as far as getting the drums in the right spot?
Yeah, because like the clarinet is powerful in a way, like in a resonating way. It could be like, oh, you know what I mean. And no one's instrument has a sustain pedal. You know what I mean. So it's like there's naturally going to be space. There's no one, and I don't want to. That's why there's no guitar, and no piano. The sound would be too sustained. I like the space in between. So for me, that just helps me get into the space. Now I can open up my bass drum. You know what I mean? Like all motion style. You know what I mean? If I want to, you can do this stuff anyway with whatever you want. This is my thing. You know what I mean? The subtle things that I'm doing, the symbol, you can hear them more. You know what I mean? It's like it puts me in a space now where I can just kind of fall in between everything. You know what I mean? Like with that band, I don't see myself playing drums and they're playing with me. I don't feel myself sort of swimming in the middle of all of them, the stuff they're doing. You know what I mean? Because they're the piano. That's like I tell them, like, man, you have to, like, don't ever really stop playing. It's like, cause you're the piano. You know what I mean? So it's one piano, all of this. So if you stop playing, we don't. The beauty of an improvising a chord, a pianist playing chords behind the solo. You know what I mean? Like they're playing chords and they're going on these different harmonic adventures. It's like if you don't play, there's none of that. Like I just play all the time, and there's this constant little colors and splashes and textures, things that are coming in. It's just like a piano that is improvising and soloing at the same time. That's harmonizing and soloing at the same time, constantly, with a dude on drum. You know what I mean? I don't want it to feel like that. Yeah, so that's kind of what I really dig about that instrumentation. Is that it's spacious but yet there's harmony going on and weird things. It's like you hear just the cello out of nowhere, which is like, what was that? What was that? He's like, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Do you have to consider venues with this band? Does it need to be a quieter setup, or does it translate well with microphones and PA systems?
You know this stuff. See what I'm saying? That is a question He knows what he's talking about. That's not a normal question. Yes. That is absolutely, yeah, man. Like half the places that I've been, you can't really play with this. You know what I mean? It's like it has to be a different kind of a thing. You need a theater, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
In order to really get it. You need something, like a club is cool, but they're not going to really get it. You know what I mean? If they play some standards, they'll get it. But to really get it, you need to be able to hear that stuff. You need like a, more of a theater kind of thing. Small theater, big theater, doesn't matter, but that kind of a setting. Yeah. The average place doesn't really, jazz club. It'd be kind of hard to get to translate it. It'd still be a good gig, you know what I mean? But it's hard to get it. You know. Yeah, man. No one's ever asked that. That's a hard thing. Like now, I'm like, should I work on a tour? Like, where are you gonna play? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Many club owners, you gonna be like, yeah, I got you. You know what I mean? Like, man. Yeah.
I mean, that's why I said it reminded me of chamber music. It feels like it needs to be in that kind of presentation, like
Yeah.
quiet, no drinks clinking, no one talking, like a listening environment.
Yeah, people who actually would care and want to check it out. You're just hanging out. You just want to be. It's like you're not going to get it. You know what I mean? Yeah, and that's a great observation.
So, is this going to be a band that kind of sticks with you for the long term? I mean, you have a lot more. Like, is this what you hear? Like when you compose, this is what you're hearing now.
No, I think this one is. I'm going to do something else now. But I want to keep working with the band. I think I'll keep it going, but I'm going to do some other stuff too. I think. Yeah, because I'm trying to come up with a way to just play some music that I want to play. Like for this next one, like with some covers, you know what I mean, without it being 40. But just some I love yacht rock, man. I want to do some Crosby, Stills and Nash and stuff. You know what I mean? That would work with this band. But there's some other ones that I'm like, how would I do that? You know, how would I do like KC and the Sunshine Band or something? So, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna do something else, but I'm still got something else in mind with this. Maybe I'll do like some of the American folk tunes or something with this band, and we do something with it. I don't know. But I'm hearing something like that. I just want to do stuff that I like, that I was singing, that I was secretly singing in high school. Because my boys knew it. They'd be like, what? You know what I mean? Christopher Cross. They'd be like, really? Like, what? You don't listen to, you know what I mean? Serious?
Are you talking about keeping it in the instrumental world, or you want to bring singers into the fold?
Like I might, I don't know. But yeah, so far it's keeping it in the instrumental world, just because I don't really know what I'm hearing totally for it yet. But might be something, you know what I mean? Just to mix them both in. Yeah.
That's exciting. Some yacht rock reinterpreted, deconstructed yacht rock. I'd like to hear it.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I was listening the other day to like Crosby, Stills, like this would be killing. It's like it's as beautiful as it is. Some of that stuff I don't want to touch because it's so beautiful. It's like don't mess with that. You know what I mean? Like, man, you can do some James Taylor. You got a friend, whatever. That's cool because everyone does that. It's cool. But no, I don't know if you want to mess with some of that other stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's really good like it is.
Yeah. Well, we're getting to the end of the hour. I always end these interviews asking, what was your first snare drum?
My first snare drum, I won it at the UNC Jazz Festival in Greeley. And Blakey was there that year. And Brecker was there that year, playing Nothing Personal and Ronnie Barrage on drums. It was like, man, that was killing. I remember that. But that was my first collegiate sort of, festival or anything here. It's University of Northern Colorado Jazz Festival. So, But yeah, I was in high school. I won like this sonar. It was a metal. I don't even know the model, but it was a metal snare. All those first Ron Miles records, I'm playing it on. You can hear it. It's beautiful. I love that snare.
Do you still have it?
No. I love the snare so much. And then, you know, like when I was evolving and going through stuff, like I wasn't thinking, you know, back then, I was just a dummy. So I kept it for a while, but then I just started neglecting it, you know what I mean? Leave it in the car, it's metal, it got a little rust on the, I was like, I'll give it to another. So I gave it away to this other kid. Like, you know, he just wanted a snare. I'm like, dude, big snare is killing me. But by then I got like the Rudy one, and I had the Yamaha, I had a Panther one or something. Was that Gretsch? Panther? No, Black Hawk.
Oh, yeah, the Black Hawk? Yeah, Gretsch Black Hawk. Yeah.
It was like, all right. Yeah, but man, I don't know why, because I think with the hoop, it kind of warped a little bit. I just wasn't taking care of it. But I loved it the first few years, and I just neglected it afterwards, like an idiot. It's really good.
It might come back in your orbit sometime. You never know.
Yeah, man, you gave me some untenable stuff. Take it back.
Well, amazing. I thank you for spending the hour with me. I think you've got a lot to dig into. I'm certainly going to tell everyone to go check out Day. Is it the best way to support you via the Bandcamp page?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So all of your records are available for purchase digitally and also analog. You got CDs on there as well, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep. So over on rudyroyston.com, Bandcamp, rudyroyston.bandcamp.com, you can check out Day and everything else you've done. We even talk about your solo records. So I have to bring it back on a little bit more because I wanted to selfishly get a drum lesson out of you on how to play drum solos. So we'll do that next time.
All right, that is it for this week's episode, and that is it for Season 4 of the Drum Candy Podcast. We're going to take a couple weeks off to regroup and get some new ideas in the works. Season 5 is going to be totally new concept. Not totally new. We're still going to have interviews. We're still going to do 10 Reasons to Love, but we're just going to refresh it. New look, new vibe, a lot more gear talk, lot more co-hosting, and some special guests. So thank you for sticking in with me. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you follow the Drum Click, the other shows on the Drum Click during our little couple weeks hiatus here. And if you missed any back episodes, it's a good time to go back and check those out. And other than that, enjoy the rest of your summer, and we'll see you in a few.